Welcome everybody to another great episode of Wealth for Generations. We are on episode number 62 today. 62. We're getting up that ladder there. Soon enough, we're going to be at 100. And you know what you got to do, right, Jimmy? Exactly. You better not be doing nothing besides being here at the show on episode 100 because he missed episode
I'm
50.
gonna be out of town.
No, you ain't.
I'm leaving in December, so if it's in December, I'm leaving.
Man, you can miss out again if you want to. You said you was like, man, I missed out. We did toast and everything. He was all butthurt. Like, yeah.
I've never said anything about anything you've been at.
Yep. You even said that today when we were talking about the bowling last night. You're like, man, I would have went if I knew, if I could have been there, if I would know Frank would have picked me up.
I would have went to show my face. Now turn right around.
And you would have had fun. We had so much fun, right, Frank?
We did.
So much fun. So much fun. Everybody's invited to the next event as well.
Yes.
But that is not what we're here for today. Today, we're here for Wealth for Generations. So let's get into some introductions real quick. First and foremost, let's give a round of applause for my engineer of all engineers, Mr. Jimmy, the Brown Giant. How you doing today, Jimmy?
I'm cool.
Like a polar bear?
Sure.
Let's give a round of applause for our next contestant coming to the stage. We have the man of armor, the golden arms, or the golden shin.
The juggernaut.
We have the juggernaut, Mr. Frank the Tank. How are we doing today, Frank?
Oh, fantastic. Blessed as always.
I've been wanting to tell people, like, why we call you that, but I'm like, I don't want to be so blunt by it.
If you guys want to know why we call him that, you can go back a couple episodes, 50-something. You got to figure it out. Just watch them all the back episodes. Watch every single one, starting from this one, and then you'll see why Frank is called the Tank, because he does explain it. We'll go into it another day too.
I said it one time, but it was so blunt, and I felt so bad by saying it like that.
I'm sure he's cool.
Hey, we'll have that day. We'll tell the story.
Yes. And last but not least, let's give a round of applause for our special guest, Miss Life Insurance, Miss Multi-Entrepreneur Businesswoman of Arizona, Miss LaMonica Lawrence.
Thank you.
How are we doing today?
I'm doing amazing.
Awesome. Glad everybody's doing good today. And I'm doing well myself. Like I say, I always feel really good once we get inside this building because I know we're doing something. You know, building this up, getting it ready for all the younger generations that are watching as we go. And like I said, we do a live recording. So all the generations that'll catch it later on, you know, we just building. We building, boy, over here. But let's get into the first
one episode. I'm so sorry. There's one episode I might have to delete about me having a topic conversation in there.
Man, it's already out there in the world, bro.
I'm such a salesman. I'm gonna say that.
But just in case anybody does see that episode, just to let you know, this is for entertainment purposes only. A lot of the things we say are jokes and from our own personal experiences.
Yes.
The three of us.
So I don't sell crack.
Whoa.
See? We told you this, Jimmy.
Just had to say,
come on, Jimmy.
I don't.
Come on. Bring it down.
I can barely sell candy bars.
You went 0 to 100, man. You got to keep it at 60 first. You got to go 0 to 60 first, not 0 to 100. But yes, entertainment purposes. This is all from our experiences. The three of us are no professional experts by any means. We ain't got no certificates or nothing like that. That's why I bring on special guests. But let's get into the first segment of the show. That is going to be the Health is Wealth segment. The Health is Wealth segment is brought to you by Jessica Marrero and Christina Rose as Elevated Souls, where they say we are here to elevate your soul. You can get your sea moss or your fresh pressed juice. You can contact them at elevatedsouls@gmail.com, or you can call them at 480-269-2649, or you can
email them at ELIVE8DSOULS.
He got it finally.
He got it.
He finally got it. He kind of interrupted me, so I don't know if everybody understands, but that is the email. He's been trying for the last few weeks to get it off memory, and he's been messing it up because it has a special spelling. It is ELIVE8D Souls. So ELIVE, the number 8, D souls@gmail.com. And let's give another round of applause for Jimmy learning something new.
I can spell.
But you can also reach them on Facebook at Elevated Souls, but Facebook doesn't want to let them get fancy, so you got to spell Elevated the regular way because Facebook be hating and stuff, Or you can find them on IG under the same way you would use the email. There's an underscore in between the souls and the elevated, though. But let's see what Jessica has for us today on Health is Wealth. Today we've got cayenne peppers. Is anybody a fan of cayenne peppers in the house? Spice likers?
Yeah.
You like spice? Yeah. Actually, I don't think cayenne's a crazy spice, but it does have a little bit of a spice. I believe.
I can't taste it.
No?
I can't taste it.
You must really like spice then. I ain't gonna lie. I'm on the lower level of spice. Like I don't even really like buffalo. Like
The only time I really use,
honestly.
it's gonna sound fire. Tank, hold up with me. The only time I use cayenne like pepper, especially like the powder, is if I make my buttermilk chicken sandwiches. So I'll put cayenne in the flour and in the buttermilk.
I be forgetting he's taking culinary classes. I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Like I'm making my he's taking culinary classes. Let's give
I know how to make that before culinary classes.
What? You take it home, you bread your own chicken and everything like that?
Yeah. I cooked them for one. I cooked that for one person.
Round of applause to Mama then. That's probably who taught him. Is that who taught you, Mama?
She gave me the idea for it.
Oh. Okay. All right. I told man, sometimes Jimmy be coming out the woodwork with these little extra talents and gems and stuff like that. But let's get into the cayenne peppers real quick. It says that it provides a variety of health benefits, which include pain relief. Cayenne peppers, like other spicy peppers, have, oh man, she gonna hit me with that, huh? Capsaicin. That kind of felt right.
That's right.
That's right. Okay. I ain't never seen that word before. She be hooking me up sometimes.
You're lucky it's too far this week.
I'm glad no big old Tootsie Roll fingers in my shot today. The compound, and I got it right, so I don't need a womp womp.
I was gonna give you the applause actually.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead then. The compound that gives them their heat is the capsaicin. Applied topically, capsaicin can help to alleviate pain by reducing the amount of neuropeptide known as substance P that travels to the brain to signal pain. With less substance P, feelings of pain decrease. So that is how it is helpful for your pain relief.
That's the only one I can reach. I am so sorry.
That was for himself there. That was for him.
That's the only one I can reach with the remote.
Well, maybe you should use something else. Psoriasis treatment. Psoriasis is an autoimmune condition that causes itchy, scaly red patches on the skin. While there is currently no cure, topical capsaicin creams can help to reduce itching and improve the skin's appearance. So it's all about the capsaicin, huh? It's not even about the pepper. Because look, metabolism. Metabolism. I don't know why I wanted to. It's that American teaching. Sound it out. It's not meta.
Ew, oh my goodness.
Metabolism boost. Capsaicin increases the amount of heat that your body produces, giving a slight boost to your metabolism and causing you to burn slightly more calories. It also somewhat effective in reducing hunger, causing you to eat less throughout the day. Digestive health. Capsaicin stimulates the nerves in your stomach to send signals for protection against injury. The pepper may help to increase the production of digestive fluid, send enzymes to the stomach to aid digestion and provide extra protection to the stomach against infections. Reducing high blood pressure. Based on animal studies, capsaicin may help to reduce high blood pressure, which also reduces the risk of developing heart disease. Reducing cancer. This has got a decent amount of things here. Yeah. Some studies show that capsaicin can slow cancer cell growth and may even be able to kill cancer cells for certain types of cancer, including prostate, skin, and pancreatic. Cayenne is a wonderful addition to any spice cabinet. So you guys said you were all familiar with it. Do you actually? Does everybody actually have it at home?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
do.
You got
I
it.
do.
You got it at home right now. You make your chicken right now, Jimmy.
No,
If
I
I
haven't
put
cooked
you
in
on
a
the
while.
spot, man, you ain't got no cayenne at home.
Actually, the only thing I made lately was what's it called? Caesar salad. Like, yeah, but that's it.
I really hope you like put actually croutons and parmesan and chicken in
Yes,
there.
yes, I did. Yes.
And then just rip up some romaine and put Caesar dressing on it.
No, I made this. I made the dressing.
So can any of you guys remember the last time you used some cayenne pepper for your diet? What did you do?
I always put it in my smoothies.
In your smoothies? Oh,
yeah,
that's a
I
different one.
actually learned about it through a popular diet called the lemonade diet, also known as the Beyonce diet.
Oh,
And
is
it's
that what she does
basically
or
a
something?
compilation of lemons and cayenne pepper.
Huh.
And yeah, it definitely does work.
That's interesting. I never heard of that one. What about you, Frank? Have you can you remember last time you used it?
Yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning? What did you use for?
Every morning I do apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, and cayenne pepper.
Oh, one of them
He's not
wellness
playing.
shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Me, on the other hand, I can't tell you the last time I used that shit. Like I said, I'm not really a spice person. Only time I really partake in spices is if I feel like something's going on. Like I don't really do it on a regular basis, but if I'm feeling like congested or my stomach's not right or something like that, then I'll use some spice. But I just use spice. I don't eat spice like that, so my tolerance is really low. So I'm not like, let me just throw some of this in here. Like sometimes even my lady likes black pepper.
Yes.
And some people think I'm crazy, but I'm like, if you put enough in there, it's spicy.
It is.
And she'd be like, no, it's not that spicy. I didn't put that much. I'm like, I can see it. But anyway, sorry to put you on blast, Jess, but she does love her black pepper. To each their own, though. To each their own. But that is going to wrap it up for the Health is Wealth for today. And I'm actually kind of excited to get into this next one because we had a good response for it. And that is going to be asking the masses. And today, the asking the masses is our social media question that we have. We only had one this week, but it had a good response. So we only really needed one. What would you say is one thing that holds people back from setting up their life insurance? So that was our asking the masses question for the day. Would Frank or LaMonica, would you guys have any input on that? Like, what do you think is, or if you guys want to, I think you both answered, right? If you guys want to just repeat what you answered, or if you want to add something different.
I'll add something different. Outside of the common reasons why people don't get life insurance are, number one, they perceive it to cost too much money.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people believe that they have some type of coverage in place and that it's the appropriate amount and the appropriate type of coverage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like if you have it like with your work or whatever, you're like, I'm
Right.
already covered with my work. I'm
Exactly.
good. Something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
What about you, Frank? Would you like to add anything else?
Well, I just like a lot of the people, like education to what it actually does for them. And I've always been a person to say life insurance isn't for you. It's for your loved ones, your close friends, who's going to take care of you when you're gone. And I did a little bit of life insurance as well. And once you talk to somebody that had that set up, like the amount of grieving process becomes easier, the amount of moving on with life becomes easier. And so when we go, sometimes we always go, "Hey, I'm dead." What does that mean, right? But like, as a family person, wouldn't you want your family to be good, right? Right. At the end of the day, if we leave, we want to know our family's good.
Exactly.
So if you have something in place for them, when you go, they're not worried about the house. They're not worried about the cars. They're not worried about this. They can grieve, get over, and move on with life and enjoy that you set them up for their future. So lack of education and knowing that life insurance is not there for you, it's for them.
That's a very good one. Because I feel like nowadays a lot of people are familiar with the concept, but a lot of people haven't had it broken down. And then that's why there's still all these mythical questions that we have and this mythology that surrounds life insurance and why some people are afraid to take the step. What about you, Jimmy? Do you have any input on that? Asking the masses, what would you say is one thing that holds people back from setting up their life insurance?
I ain't gonna lie to you. I wouldn't know nothing about that. So that's
No.
all y'all today.
So actually, but that solidifies what Frank was saying.
Yeah.
You have no interest in it because you don't know anything about it. Right? Like it's not something that it's like, oh yeah, I was told about that. I ain't even trying to mess with it. Is it that, or is it just like you're just not familiar with it because of not to be disrespectful or anything, but your age is fairly young, so
Yeah.
you just don't really know about it. That's why you don't have input about it.
Yeah.
Or you just don't want to mess with it.
Yeah, that's just our conversation today.
There it is. I mean, it's really the lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. So
and somewhat of an uncomfortable thing too. It
right.
Kinda,
Yes.
somewhat feels like too.
Right.
Not to put Jimmy on blast, but I feel that
like
a little bit.
Yeah, it's
Right.
hard to talk about death, but
It
when you look at as another perspective, right? The only thing we're ever promised is the day that we go.
Yep.
Everything else happens, right?
Mhm.
So if you know that's going to happen, why not have something in place?
Right.
And then most of the people in the masses always talked about, right, the cost.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we pay cell phone bills.
Yep.
We pay car insurances.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? When you go, they don't do nothing for your family.
Right.
If you put your priorities in advance, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get a policy for $40 or $50 and you leave your family $200,000 or more
Mm-hmm.
because of your age when you start out young,
Mm-hmm.
why not?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
We all spend 20, 40, $50 on things we don't need every month.
Right.
If
That
you go to
is so
McDonald's
true.
twice a week,
There's your
already paid
$50 a
Yep.
month.
Right there.
Like,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That stuff will put you where you need the insurance anyways.
Absolutely.
Right. So we had a pretty good turnout on the social medias. We actually had, I'm kind of surprised. I didn't realize it was that high until right now. There's 57 comments on this one. So, but you're right, Lamonica. If it's a discussion, it's a topic people like to discuss. But let's just get some other input real quick, and then we're gonna get into the wealthy wisdom, get to know a little bit more about Lamonica, and then we're gonna come back around and crush some of these myths that are out there about the life insurance. But we got education, like we've been saying. We have this person here says they have a decent amount already set up in retirement and enough that will sustain their family. So they're not really that interested in life insurance. This person says because people are selfish, which I had some words about that one, but we won't go into all that. Why'd you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, but I wanted to say that one still because there are people that generally think that way about other people, and there are some people who are generally selfish about it because, like I said, it's an education thing. And if you're not educated, I feel like it's not really selfish. But if you are educated and you still don't do it, it's a little bit of a selfish move. But I said I wasn't going to get into it, and I did. Priorities, like kind of like Frank was ending on, priorities, like people don't have the right priorities situated. Price, education, yeah, so it's kind of the same few things. It looks like, education, price. I know some other things are like people think, oh, I'm young and healthy, I don't need it right now or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna live forever, things like that. But there's a lot of rebuttals, a lot of myths and things that people are either taught or overhear, and they just run with it and they just knock it off and don't even want to deal with life insurance at all because of this one thing.
Right.
So that's why I'm really excited today to have an expert with us today, and we can get past some of these myths that are out in this community that we have in our culture, because it's not like I always say, I am Black, so I'm gonna worry about my people first, but I'm really here to help all of us on this same financial level. And all of us on this same financial level, as far as this goes, we have about the same education and we have about the same risk. So it's something I feel like that should be really shared and pushed out there And then it's up to you in the end, because there's a lot of different options. So, go with whatever option best suits you, but there's no harm in getting educated about the options. So, with that being said, we're going to get into the wealthy wisdom. That's going to wrap it up for Asking the Masses. Wealthy wisdom is going to be all about Miss LaMonica on the intro. So we're going to get a little bit of a background, and then, like I said, we're going to double back around to these common rebuttals and myths and stuff like that, and get some of those crushed. But first and foremost, let's get a little bit of background from you. So what is it that you do that is involved with the life insurance?
So I'm a life insurance agent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've been a life insurance agent for about 4 years now.
About 4 years. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. And then, so are you? Can you say who you're with?
Yes, yeah. I'm with Primerica.
Okay.
So we believe in a concept of buying term insurance and investing the difference. So if you're familiar with like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman,
mm-hmm.
Those are popular people who also believe in that concept.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So, is there anything that you would say from your childhood that kind of molded you to go down this road, or is this something that was introduced to you at an older age?
It was definitely an older age, and I would say, because I'm a Navy veteran.
Oh, nice!
I served in the military.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so, what sparked my interest in, as far as being an entrepreneur, was I was discharged out of the military. I literally had a 6-week notice that I had to get out. And so my plan was just to retire, do 20 years, and then think about what I was going to do later. But since that didn't happen, as a result of that 6-week notice, my life just changed drastically. I was homeless. I didn't have financial, I didn't have a reserve of income set up. And so, obviously it sparked a point where I never wanted to be put in a position where someone would be able to dictate my livelihood. Okay, so on my journey after 2014, I started a few other entrepreneur businesses, but then I kind of honed in and had to check myself and say, hey, you know what? It's just not about making money. What am I really passionate about? And so I was introduced to this particular opportunity about 4 years ago, and I was blown away with the wealth principles that were shared because, number one, I didn't have those things put in place for myself or my family. And, being in a position where you can always go back and be like, wow, you know what? If I would have known these wealth principles, I wouldn't have been homeless. I wouldn't have had some of the circumstances that I've had.
Awesome. That sounds awesome. So then you were saying that as you were trying to do the entrepreneurship, you kind of had to come to terms with realizing that it wasn't all about the money.
Yes.
Would you say that is one of the major things you had to be honest with yourself, or is there any other like you put above that as far as once you went into the entrepreneurship and tried to basically be your own boss? Basically, the question is there one major attribute that you had to be honest with yourself about, and was it that one, or is it a different
one? Yes, because I feel like there are so many things you can do, so many different things you can do, and you can always look at it from a compensation standpoint. However, long term, are you going to be able to stick with that? For me, no. That was the realization that I came with. Like, okay, I could sell Mary Kay, I could get some lipsticks, I could do this, but it's not just about that. What am I actually passionate about that I'm going to be able to stick with?
That's amazing. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things. Like I always say about all you entrepreneurs and you business owners, before you take that leap, you got to figure out what you're passionate about, because that's what's going to keep you going when you're on those down points. Definitely. When you have those negative days and those months. And you're like, oh, why am I doing this?
Right.
Because of the passion does. Darn it.
Exactly.
Darn it. So yes, the passion is very important. So if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
I would want to be remembered as helping people, and then specifically helping veterans. Because of the way that I got put out, what I really realized was that had I known about certain resources, I wouldn't have been in that position as well. And so now I have a business outside of the financial services where I help veterans transition out of the military by way of making sure they know about certain resources.
Awesome. And what's that?
Veterans Compass to Success.
Veterans Compass to Success. And then if there's any veterans watching or anything like that, is there any way they can contact you for that?
Yes, they can go right to my website, veteranscompasstosuccess.com. They can email me at lifelineveterans@gmail.com. And then on Instagram, I'm just Coach LaMonica. And on Facebook, just LaMonica Lawrence.
Awesome. I'm glad that you're doing something like that for the veterans out there, because I feel like there's a lot of misconception with that world. I'm not part of it personally, but my dad was Air Force, and I've come across quite a few veterans in my life, and I know there's a lot of people that are like, you know what, I'm good, I did this, and this, but there's also a lot of people who are like, man, like I kind of got the short end of the stick in the end, so it's really good that that you're out there trying to help the other fellow veterans too, so you can work from experience, which is also going to feed that passion for you. So out of all the jobs you've had, what would you say was your least favorite, and what one is your favorite?
Out of all the jobs I've had, the least favorite is definitely going to be I was working at this solar company. That was definitely my least favorite.
Like like a salesman or office?
Office, but I got a chance to see the salesman side. And there's just a lot of misleading stuff happening in that industry. So that's all I'll say about that.
I would not be surprised, because I guarantee there's a lot of money in it, and there's not a lot of common knowledge in the public right now. So it's easy to be like, oh yeah, so blah blah blah.
Just sign right here. You're
gonna double check that. Yep. That's a good one then. What would you say is your favorite then that you've had?
My favorite,
and it can be whatever your veterans or whatever you got going. Like,
that's definitely
doesn't have
my
to be
favorite.
something past.
My business is definitely my favorite. Every time I get a phone call from a veteran, because they'll email me first, and then I'll have them call me, and then when I hear their story, I'm always reminded that whether I'm paid for this or it was free, like I just love doing it.
That's nice.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Blessings.
Yes.
So this is going to be the last question on the interrogation here part, but and actually it might be a little double up for you. If there was one public figure or book that you would like to recommend for anybody that's going to try to be in your entrepreneurial field or lane, is there anything that you would like to recommend, either a public figure or a book?
Not necessarily a public figure, but I do like the book. Oh, Lord, there's 7 Habits, 7 Successful Habits, I believe it's called. Because on this journey of entrepreneurship, even when you know what you're passionate about, you have to have certain habits, and you have to have a certain level of discipline to be able to carry out the things that you need to carry out for your business.
That's true. So, that is a gem right there for sure. So check it out, people. 7 habits of something. 7 successful habits of.
I'm paraphrasing, guys.
Of business people or something like that. It's somewhere out there. You got the gist of it. You can find it. Do your due diligence. I haven't used the word yet this episode, so there we go. I'm trying to use that word often. So that is going to wrap it up for the first half of the Wealthy Wisdom, and now we're going to get into some of these myths here. So we've touched on a little bit of it, and if we can just go ahead and skip it, but I just have a long list of stuff. If you feel like that's something you want to dive deeper into and explain more into it, or if it's something that you're kind of like, I haven't dealt with that one too much, we can skim over that one. Feel free, because there's a lot of different ones here. I just grabbed a bunch of different ones. So life insurance mythology. The first one I have is, and they're basically just listed as like rebuttals.
Okay.
Basically. So the first one I have is I'm too old, or I'm not old enough to buy life insurance. So what do you think about that one?
So if you're under the age of 18, that's the only way that I would say that they wouldn't be old enough, but they could still be what we call child riders on an adult policy.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure everybody is insured as long as they're at least 6 weeks old, they need to be on a policy.
Yes. So there's basically, I don't want to say no, there's basically, because you got to be at least about 6 weeks old or so.
Yes.
So there's almost no age limit. Well, no, actually, because there's a limit. I'm going to just retract that, and we're going to go to the next one.
Established from 6 weeks. And then as far as term insurance is concerned, you can get it established up until age 70.
Up until age 70.
I'm sorry, 72.
72. Mm-hmm. Okay. So with the term, you can do it as early as 6 weeks and as old as 72. So if you're watching, you're definitely in that bracket. So that crushes that one. I'm not old enough. You may not be old enough to buy it yourself if you are under 18, but you are still old enough to have a policy. So there's crushed number one. Number two is life insurance is expensive, which is probably one of the most common ones, is the money issue. Money.
That's another reason why I love term insurance, because term insurance is going to be the most affordable, number one. So the only way insurance is ever going to be expensive for someone is if they're maybe in their 50s, 60s and above, if they are a smoker, or if they have some serious health conditions. So you still don't want to rule yourself out. You always want to get with a life insurance agent, go over all the questions with them, and then let that underwriting department determine whether or not you qualify or not.
Exactly. Yeah, because even if you do feel like you are a little on the older end and you do have some ailments, you still want to check it out. Like, don't just rule it out.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a lot of different options.
There are.
Like, Monica may be able to help you out and figure it out with something.
I have people who, and if it's not term, which I don't recommend anything other than term, but there are some situations where people do have critical health conditions or they're over that age limit, get some life insurance. So if it has to be a whole life or some other cash value product, by all means, get something.
And that's exactly what I was going to get to. There's if you don't try, you're not going to figure out if there is something out there for you. If you're just like, it's too expensive, I ain't even going to look. You have no idea how many options there are. No idea. I mean, first you want to check with Monica first, but there's the options though. There's options. So the next rebuttal is stay-at-home parents don't need life insurance, which is one I've never heard before. But that's funny. When I wrote that one down, I was like, "This is
somebody that depends on you. You need life insurance." Prime example. Let's just say you have a 10-year-old. And you plan on taking care of them for the next 10 years. And God forbid something happens to you next week. Well, you would still want them to be able to depend on your income for that time frame, for that 10 years that you were already going to do it if you were alive. Then you need to make sure that that's already put in place.
Definitely. So that is definitely... I'm not even going to lie. I kind of chuckled to myself when I read that one, because I was like, really? Like, when did that thought happen? Like, because first thing that popped in my head is I know there's statistics that say you save X amount of money by having a stay-at-home person. So if that stay-at-home person is gone, if they happen to pass away, that money that you're saving, now you have to put out. It becomes an expense now. Yes. Just like you were saying. Yeah. So that's one reason right there why that makes no sense to me personally, at least. The next one is my group life insurance is sufficient, meaning people who have insurance set up through either their union or their work or something like that.
I love this one, because all of us, if you've been in the work field, if you've been a W-2 worker at some point in your life, we've probably all experienced where there was an error on our check. They didn't have the appropriate hours or something like that. So you mean to tell me that the same company that had an error in your pay has everything correct when it comes down to your policy? You haven't even seen the policy. You don't know what the provisions are. I saw, and this is a worst case scenario, but it can happen, where a young man had a policy on a job. He actually got sick, he was in the hospital for about 3 weeks, and he ended up passing away in the hospital. So the family went to collect on the life insurance through the employer. Well, the employer says that they have a provision in the policy that says if you're not at work for 2 weeks, you're not considered to be an active employee, and therefore they did not have to pay out on that. And so because he was in the hospital, he was sick.
Oh,
so it's like, that's an extreme situation, but at the same token, it happens.
I would not put it past anybody that happened, but
and so you always want a policy that you can control. Even if it's a small one outside of your job, have something that you can control.
Right, definitely. You always want something you can control. And then too, like some places, you can't travel with it.
Right.
As well. Right. So basically that same situation.
Yes.
Because he said he no longer worked.
Right.
With the company. Technically, he didn't work with them anymore. Right. So the life insurance didn't go anywhere with them. So he was no longer protected through them. Yes. So you got to think about that too. Unless you're if you're going to say something like that, you better be like, all right, I'm vested in this company. I'm going to do my 40 years, my 30 years with this company, and I'm cool. But still, even
when you retire, you don't get it.
Yeah, I was going to say, but still,
you got to go get your own policy. Then you pay more
because you're older.
You waited.
Because you're old. Yep. So So that's another crush. Like you got to make sure. And two, like LaMonica was saying, like, if you are covered by your job, do you even know how much you're covered for? Right. Like, what is your family supposed to be? Do you know what they're expecting? Like they just let you know you're covered, but do you know?
Right.
They could be like, "Oh, here's 5,000."
Do you even know the name of the company?
That's a good one too. You probably don't even know the name of the company to double check what you got. Right. So the next one is I don't need life insurance. I have personal savings.
I like that comment. I like that comment that you read from the Facebook post of the person who said that they had enough.
Yeah.
Well, I do believe that you can get to a point where you could be considered self-insured. However, you have to know what is your financial independence number. So that being said, you can't just say I have 100,000 in savings. I'm good if something happens. Well, did you actually sit down with someone, or even now they have it where you can get a financial calculator and type of and put in all your debt and everything. Do you know what that number actually is?
Right.
Instead of just saying I have enough. And if you do have it, then hey, that's wonderful. But you also want to make sure you've taken into consideration inflation. We all know the car that I bought in 2019, it took $40 to fill up my tank then. Now that same car takes $79.
Yep.
So have you really factored that in? So.
Yeah.
One thing that I did want to say, like from the Facebook post, he was like, I got a lot of money in retirement. I got money, right? As a business person, if you've got that money, most of the people always say, I got money and I don't need to get that. Well, if you think about where your money's at, sitting in a bank, the interest that the bank is paying you on, and they're using your money. Now, other policies that are out there for people that may have money, they could take that money as a small payment to themselves. Because like I said, they put it into that insurance policy, and that compounds at an interest rate of between 2 to up to 6%. And when you talk about putting a payment over to something that's getting way more than your money sitting in the bank, not only do you have $1 million or $100,000 in your bank account, but you also got $100,000 in a policy that's continuously growing until that person's 100 years old. So why not take a little bit out of your savings to double up your money for your family?
Right.
Yes, compound interest is everything. Making sure you have your money in the best vehicle, and your bank is not the best vehicle.
Your retirement is not the best.
Exactly.
And a lot of people too don't really realize either that like if you're not as educated with the life insurance, you're probably not as educated with the will and testament either.
Right.
So if you have all your money locked up in a bank and you don't have your
probate,
will,
you don't have nothing there. Your family's without for 6 to 8, 9 months before they might release
celebrities that still have those issues. So just imagine the everyday person who has that issue and don't know.
So there may be those people out there like, I got savings, I got retirement, but do you have that set up in your will correctly as well? That you have a I
If
forget
not,
the
it'll
name
take
of it, but
almost 2
the
I've
years.
seen families like somebody was like, "Hey, I just passed away. My whatever just passed away." I said,
Mhm.
"Did they have a will?" And they
Mhm.
said, "No." I was like, "Do you have their bank account information? Do you have their card? It's not filed yet, right?" I'm like, "If you don't go to the bank now, you won't get anything, at least
Right.
until the state says."
Yep.
And if they had bills, you might not see a penny.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Because those bills still got to get paid.
Right.
Yep.
So without certain documents and things in place, and sometimes it's just you got to take the time to do it.
You do.
And
Yeah.
we rush through life as people, you know. So sometimes you just got to take a step back, get it out the way, because if something happens while you're rushing through life, at least it's there.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we got insurance on our phones. We got insurance on our cars.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure people even getting these brand new game consoles and getting insurance on their game consoles. I mean, it's like $1,000 for a game console nowadays.
Right.
So, next we got I can't get life insurance if I have a pre-existing condition. We kind of touched on this one a little bit, but these are for those people who feel like they can't get it for those. I feel like this one is kind of pertaining more to the serious stuff, not necessarily a
Yes.
physical thing. So someone who like has cancer or something like
Right.
that, or what do they call it? A fatal
A
ailment
terminal
or
Terminal
terminal. That's the
illness.
word I wanted. Yeah,
Yes.
terminal illness. Yeah. So what would you say about that? If someone's like, well, I got a terminal illness, I can't get it.
Well, they may not qualify for term, but there's still other insurances out there. And there are some that are specific that if you have some type of terminal illness or some type of disability, that insurance is for that. So you're probably going to pay a little bit more, but there are options.
Yeah, so definitely, just like we were saying with the expensive thing,
Right.
like even if you may be on a spectrum where LaMonica can't necessarily help you, there's other options. So
Yes.
even if you are in a certain situation where your terminal illness can't go with what LaMonica can provide you, there's still other options. So don't just give up and be content with that statement. Like, oh, I've got cancer, so I don't even want to try. I can't do it. Like, you could still look into it, do your due diligence, and figure out what can work for you. You know, it's a pretty important thing. The next one is I don't need life insurance until I become a parent. That's one I've never heard of, actually.
I would still say if you have any debt, because you could be a homeowner and not be a parent. And so you would still need to make sure that that debt is covered for whether you're a parent or not.
Definitely. And then one of my biggest things I've always ever since I heard about any like life insurance stuff, one of the things that's always stuck in my head that people almost always overlook is your medical bills when you pass away.
Yes.
Like, even if you don't have any kids, who's going to take care of those medical bills? You are in a car accident and they got to put you in an ambulance and they get you to the hospital and they try to save you. They use this, and this. They try to revive you and everything, and you end up passing away. All that stuff's got to be all that stuff's got to be paid for.
Yes.
Someone's got to pay for all that stuff, including, like you said, if you have any debt that's left over, or like Frank said, the bills you passed away halfway in the month. You know, those bills still got to get paid somehow. So if you got a kid or not, you know, so that's definitely another one. Crushed mythology crushed.
You know, that I wanted to add to that too. When you don't have kids, right, or you don't have a family, but when you get the knowledge like this, especially for like Jimmy, he's 18. If he was to go look for a policy now, he might pay $15 to $20.
Yeah.
Instead of saying I gotta wait for a family, I gotta be set up,
Now
I'm 45, and now that $20
like
bill is $80, $100. Then you're saying that it's too expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
So $20 now that stays the same. It doesn't change.
Lock in that rate.
Yep. You hear that part, Jimmy?
Yes.
When you start young, it's low and it stays
and
that same
all
number.
The older people wish they would have done.
Yeah, when they finally do sit down and get it, they're like, "What is this much?" And then you're like, "Yeah, it would have been this much if you did it when you were 20, 18. Like, really? dang, I wish I would have did it then.
And you know, I'll say this out loud: GoFundMe is not an insurance policy.
No, it's not. Or car washes.
You know, we get tired of seeing people on the side of the road. Yeah. Hey, help me do this. Hey, can you GoFundMe for this?
Especially in an economy like today.
Yeah, because it's already like not to like pull out the pity wagon, but we all struggling right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like as insensitive as it might sound, like I don't want to see your GoFund right now. I'm struggling too. Like if you want to put a GoFundMe out, how about you GoFund me and I'll GoFund you? You just give me $5 and I'll give you your $5 back. And then we even.
It'll be much easier to prioritize, like he said, pay the $40, $50 a month versus trying to come up with $10,000, $15,000 in a week because somebody passed away.
Exactly. Yep. So, you know, if you're young, you can get it real cheap and it stays that way. As long as you hold that policy and pay that policy, it stays low. He ain't paying attention. So some people say that it's a chore to apply for term life insurance. What? Oh,
it could be that could turn into a commercial like Geico. You know, 15 minutes with me could give your family $150,000. I mean, what do you want? Like, do you not want to take the time to make sure that your family is straight?
Exactly. That's what it boils
down to. But you'll go sit there and watch a YouTube video for an hour.
Right. Go and Netflix a whole series.
It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. The health questions are about 12 questions, depending on the company. Mm-hmm. They're going to get some basic personal information from you, and it's going to be submitted directly to the underwriting department.
Yeah. So, what, 15, 20 minutes, as long as you're not freaking like 50 questions every, like it kind of depends on you as well as the client, you know?
Yes.
Like it could be 15, 20 minutes, but if I'm questioning you every other statement, you're like, okay, so this is going to be this. I'm like, well, someone said that you could do this, this, and this. So, well, I'm not sure you spoke with, but I can't do that. I can do this. And, you know, and you have those people that just go back and forth with you and try to, then yeah, it's going to feel like a chore because by the end you're done. You're playing mental tug of war the whole time. But if you know what you want, or not necessarily know what you want, but if you're ready to do it and you go through the steps and cooperate, it can be a very quick process indeed. So that's another one. And also too, when it comes down to it, like Frank said, like, shut up. Basically, like you can like, you don't want to do a chore for your family? Like that's like being like, oh, I don't want to do the dishes. It feels like a chore. But y'all ain't got no clean dishes for your family to eat dinner. Like that don't make no sense. Clean the dishes so y'all can have dinner together. Stupid. But anyway, sorry. I only need life insurance if I'm working. What do you say about that one? I kind of related to the stay at home.
Stay at home,
yeah.
Right. That's definitely a myth. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they came up with that concept, but again, if you have people who depend on you, or you have debt, you need life insurance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the next one is.
We're trying to get your attention for the last.
Commercial. We're gonna do a commercial.
We are.
We are on a commercial.
We're doing it now.
Okay. Commercial now.
Because they try to.
Welcome. A couple things.
Has been back, everybody.
So welcome back, everybody. Hope you got your legs stretched out, got some water and everything like that. I totally forgot to ask on break, so I'm gonna just ask right now. Jimmy, how much time we got left?
10 minutes.
Okay. That sounds about right, actually. So we're going to do a couple more questions, and then we're going to do my favorite segment of the show. Wait, Jimmy, don't say it yet. Don't say it yet.
Okay. Asking the masses.
Nope, wrong. So we got another question here.
We build it. Oh, damn it.
I said not yet. It says the next question is, or the next rebuttal is, life insurance is only useful after my death. What would you say to somebody that says that as a rebuttal? Life insurance is only useful after my death.
Well, it just depends on what type of coverage they get.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with term, that would be absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm.
There are some other policies out there where I believe you mentioned it, where you can invest and borrow money from that particular policy while you're alive.
What was the were you saying something though about like you could invest the difference or something like that with you guys?
So when I say invest the difference, I'm specifically speaking about mutual funds.
Okay, but is that something you can have all set up together through Primerica and then through that avenue?
Yes,
you could.
And I like that one better, even in comparison to the ones where you can borrow from the policy, because most of those policies are going to yield at about 6% interest rate. The mutual funds are yielding at about a 12% interest rate. So it's a higher interest rate. So it's just, in my opinion, a little bit better as far as your money compounding interest faster.
Okay. So technically, that answer is a yes for term only. But if you go with Primerica, they could work with you for something that's not necessarily going to be life insurance, but they could work with your financial freedom.
Yes.
They can work with your financial freedom so you can have yourself set up with a life insurance and something that you could utilize before your death if needed. But were you going to say something, Frank?
No, like you always tell people, doing their due diligence.
Yeah.
As we've said, there's a lot of policies out there, right? So there are policies out there that are a death benefit, but they have a living benefit in them as well. And some of them, when you're young, if you look down your family history and everybody gets cancer at 65 in your family, you can take out a cancer policy to add with it that are all while you're alive. So it's not you having to come up with money for treatments and things like that. That is a prone thing to your family. So another reason why you look at your family's background and you get it early while you don't have to go through all the answers and the testings and the physicals and all that.
Doing your due diligence.
Yes. So yes, there are living benefits that you can use while you're alive.
Yes. And basically, just to kind of reiterate on that, basically he's saying
that usually happens at 55 minutes.
Oh, does it? That's crazy that you know that. Basically what he was saying is, if something happens to you, if you have a long history in your family of terminal illnesses, you can set up a policy to where you could take out money to help you fight that terminal illness when that time comes on certain policies. So like me and Frank both said, make sure you do your due diligence. If that is something that you believe in and you can still find the right thing to have yourself set up that you could utilize your life insurance before your death. But we're getting pretty close to the end of the show. So we're going to wrap up the Wealthy Wisdom segment of the show. And we're going to get into my favorite part of the show that I like to say out loud all the time.
Okay, I got this one.
We are going to be going into the next segment. We building, boy.
We building, boy.
I think I watched him count to 6. He said 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I thought it was something at 7.
But yes, we're going into the We Building Boy segment. So today on We Building Boy, we are highlighting Miss LaMonica Lawrence and her entrepreneurship I know we were kind of focusing on the life insurance today just because I haven't had a life insurance person on before. So I wanted to make sure we drop some good gems and have a good discussion about it, because the discussion is needed in our culture and in our environment, in the urban cities, in the lower financial areas, all that jazz. But I'm going to step away right now and let Miss LaMonica let you guys know everything that she's got going on. And if you need to contact her, she can drop some contact information for you as well. But there you go, Miss LaMonica, the floor is yours.
All right. So in addition to the financial services piece, I did mention that I'm a Navy veteran and I do have a business that helps all veterans transition out of the military. And so I put a lot of content out on YouTube as well, which I did not mention. And I can also be found at Veterans Compass to Success on YouTube. So what I got going on next, I do have a speaking event called ServeCon that's coming up in November, where I will be talking about a lot of resources for veterans at that particular event. And for more information about that, you're definitely going to have to follow my Facebook page for that one. Just at LaMonica Lawrence. And just stay tuned. I do have an app in the making that's going to be specific for veterans, also helping with their transition out of the military.
Good.
Awesome. That's great. That's really, really great. I like that focus on the veterans. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Appreciate that.
No, that wasn't for you. Don't.
No, I wasn't saying it was for me. I appreciate you providing extra actual claps. Appreciate it.
I ain't do it for you.
Right. Anyways, if you guys want to contact Miss LaMonica, you can go on her Facebook and her IG under
IG is Coach LaMonica.
Coach LaMonica.
And then Facebook, LaMonica Lawrence. And all the other channels is going to be Veterans Compass to Success.
Veterans Compass to Success.
On TikTok, on YouTube. And my email address is lifelineveterans@gmail.com.
I was actually going to do that one next time. What's the email? So I'm sorry, we kind of chuckled through that one, but what's the email one more time?
lifelineveterans@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, I want to give a round of applause to my engineer of all engineers, Mr. Jimmy, the Brown Giant. Thank you, sir, for being here. I want to give another round of applause. It took too long. I want to give another round of applause for the juggernaut, Mr. Frank the Tank. Thank you for coming in, sir. I really appreciate you. And then I want to give another round of applause for our special guest. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to come hang out with Wealth for Generations. I appreciate you.
Having me. I appreciate all of you.
No problem. Thank you. You're
very
much.
Welcome.
And last but not least, that one is for you guys. Thank you to all my supporters, all the viewers. Thank you so much. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you and, Dip, Iesha, and stuff.
You better sound excited when you talk about my uncle. Put some excitement in that voice.
I was just going to say.
Gain some testosterone in there.
Put some respect on my
God. Put some respect on my motherfucker.
Won't you do it? I don't hear you ever sound out your uncle for giving you this opportunity.
You said what?
I don't hear you shouting out your uncle for this opportunity.
What are you talking about?
For the opportunity that you were in.
Huh?
Your opportunity.
What opportunity?
Being an engineer. Man, you don't even be using it right. Anyways, that last one is for all you guys, viewers, supporters. Thank you very much. Wouldn't be here without you.
Yes,
Shout out to Damon and Dip. Shout out to Dip and Iesha, Habari Entertainment. Also, shout out to everybody that came out last night. Last night was awesome. Thank you guys.
Why say it like that?
Why say like what?
Like I didn't go.
You didn't go. So everybody that went, besides Jimmy, because Jimmy didn't go. Jimmy be hating, be slacking. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, Miss LaMonica. Thank you. And on that note, I think I'm gonna throw it up. Peace.